Every time you open up a browser to ask an AI a complex question,
Right.
or even just to generate an image, a massive data center somewhere is literally drinking a bottle of fresh water.
Yeah, it's wild to think about.
It is, just to keep its servers from melting down.
Mm.
And it's burning enough electricity to light up a small neighborhood.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Because when we talk about the future of tech, for
Yeah.
you listening, we usually talk about, software, algorithms,
Yeah.
weightless code.
A cloud, like it's just floating up there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the physical reality of our digital world is, well, it's incredibly heavy. And it is incredibly thirsty.
It's basically the ultimate bottleneck of our generation. I mean, we're looking at this explosive, unprecedented demand for continuous physical energy and water,
Yeah.
and it's colliding head-on with a planet that is, frankly, running out of both.
Which is terrifying, but also...
A massive opportunity,
Right.
right? That collision is creating this entirely new landscape for investors.
Welcome to the deep dive. We have a huge, really complex topic for you today.
We do.
And we're going to unpack it by looking through this really fascinating stack of internal communications, pitch drafts, and strategic negotiation notes.
From a startup called Stilar Energy.
Right, Stilar Energy. And our mission for you today is to basically deconstruct what is... Honestly, it's a masterclass in capital raising.
It really is. It's so strategic.
We're going to analyze the historical and current state of the negotiations led by their CEO, Eduardo Tiravanti.
Yeah, as he structures this formal ironclad presentation to secure a $1.5 million seed round.
For their deep tech innovation unit, right, which they call Energetik Heart.
Energetik Heart, yeah. And we should probably clarify immediately for you listening, this is not your typical Silicon Valley software pitch.
No, definitely not.
Like, we're not talking about a new social media app or a B2B SaaS platform.
Okay.
This is heavy industrial physical infrastructure.
Exactly. We're looking at a project that claims to have invented something called portable rivers.
Portable rivers, such a cool name.
It's a great hook.
Yeah.
And they're presenting this technology to very traditional venture capital funds.
Right.
As the definitive solution to that massive energy and water crisis facing AI data centers.
And off-grid heavy industries, too.
Yeah. So what we're going to explore is how you take this incredibly complex technical solution and frame it as a highly scalable, irresistible investment opportunity for, some of the most skeptical investors on the planet.
Because to understand why top-tier VCs are even taking these meetings, we kind of have to start with the problem.
Right. We have to look at the bottleneck.
Exactly. We have to understand this multi-billion-dollar bottleneck that Energetik Heart is trying to break open.
So let's set the stage for you. The bottleneck is power, but not just any power.
No, it's a specific kind.
We're talking about the exploding global market of next-gen AI data centers, along with heavy industries like mining, cement, manufacturing.
Right, the big stuff.
Yeah. And these operations share one critical weakness. They're absolutely desperate for continuous baseload power.
Meaning they need electricity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
With zero interruption.
Absolute zero. I mean, they cannot afford for the servers to flicker, even for a millisecond.
And look at the current options they have to actually achieve that, especially if they're, operating off the main grid.
Yeah, their options are terrible. Right now, to get that continuous power, the primary fallback is just massive diesel generators.
Which is a complete nightmare.
Oh, it's awful.
It's highly polluting, wildly expensive to fuel, to maintain.
Yeah.
And it instantly destroys any corporate sustainability or net zero goals that a company might be advertising to their shareholders,
Exactly. So the logical jump for most people is to just say, well, use renewables.
Right, to build a solar farm.
Put up some wind turbines.
Yeah.
But traditional renewables suffer from chronic intermittency.
The sun sets.
The sun eventually sets, the wind stops blowing. They just cannot guarantee continuous, firm power without adding massive, incredibly costly lithium-ion battery banks.
Yeah, and the economics of trying to run a massive data center on solar and batteries alone are just staggering.
It doesn't pencil out, so that leaves traditional hydroelectric power, which is continuous. A river flows day and night.
It does. But building traditional hydro requires massive dams.
Right.
You have to alter the natural flow of a river, which destroys local ecosystems.
Yeah, and crucially, it puts you in direct competition with local communities.
And agriculture, right, for the water.
Exactly. In a world that is facing severe escalating water stress, Trying to dam a local river for a corporate data center is basically a political and ecological non-starter.
Yeah, they'd get run out of town.
Yeah.
So diesel is dirty, solar is intermittent, and traditional hydro is geographically limited and ecologically destructive.
Right.
And this is the exact void where Energetik Heart is positioning these portable rivers.
Yes.
So according to the pitch materials, these are modular, AI-optimized micro-hydroelectric units.
Yeah.
But the key detail, the thing they're really leading with, is that these units operate in a completely sealed, closed-loop system.
This is the core technological breakthrough they're selling to investors. They are promising a continuous 80% capacity factor.
Okay, capacity factor.
Yeah, in the energy world, capacity factor is just the ratio of actual energy generated compared to the maximum possible output.
Okay.
For context, like a really good solar farm might have a capacity factor of 20 to 25%.
Wow, that's it.
Yeah. Energetik Heart is delivering 80%.
That's huge.
It means firm, reliable power around the clock. But the real magic is that they do it with 100% water circularity.
Meaning zero net water consumption.
None. They are not damming a river. They're taking a confined volume of water and just recirculating it within their modular system.
Right.
So they generate hydropower directly on site without consuming the water or disrupting a natural water source.
Okay, wait. You're losing me here. I have to push back on this.
Sure.
Because I am certain venture capitalists are asking the exact same question in these meetings.
Oh, they definitely are.
Hydroelectric power requires a massive volume of water flowing downhill, right?
Right.
Gravity.
Right.
You're telling me they put water in a sealed box and somehow it generates continuous net positive energy.
Yeah.
How does that not violate the laws of physics? Honestly, this sounds a bit like one of those perpetual motion desk toys.
Those little drinking bird things.
Yeah. Right. How does a startup walk into a room and prove to hard-nosed financial analysts that this isn't just science fiction?
It's the perfect question, and it's the exact skepticism they had to anticipate. Look, it is not perpetual motion.
Okay.
Perpetual motion machine claims to create energy out of nowhere. What Energetik Heart is doing is leveraging sophisticated fluid dynamics, pressure differentials, and gravity within this vertically integrated module.
Like a fake waterfall.
Basically, think of it as creating a highly engineered, miniaturized artificial topography.
Okay.
They use an initial input of energy and water, but then an artificial intelligence layer constantly optimizes the valves, the flow rates, the turbine resistance in real time.
So the AI is managing the efficiency.
Exactly, to maximize the kinetic energy recovery. It acts more like an incredibly efficient, continuous mechanical battery that harnesses existing industrial flows or pressure systems,
right,
without letting a single drop of water evaporate. But, you're absolutely right. Explaining the physics isn't enough for a VC.
No, they don't care about the physics.
Right. Investors don't invest in physics. They invest in mitigated risk.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room, right? The hardware graveyard.
Yes.
Silicon Valley and traditional venture capital funds are notoriously terrified of hardware startups.
Completely terrified. Because of the high capital expenditure, or CapEx,
Right.
if you build a software app, your cost to duplicate that app for 1 million new users is practically zero.
It's just server space.
Exactly. But if you build heavy industrial hardware, every single unit requires raw materials, complex supply chains, massive manufacturing facilities.
It's still shipping.
Right. It's slow, it's really expensive to prototype, and, well, things break.
So how does Stilar Energy actually overcome that? Because they didn't just walk into these VC meetings with, like, theoretical math and a beautiful 3D rendering.
No, they brought physical operational validation. And the internal notes outline a very deliberate strategy to eliminate this hardware risk.
Okay, what'd they do?
First, they secured a highly capital-efficient $125,000 non-dilutive grant from the Peruvian government.
From an innovation entity, right? Pro-Innovate?
Yes, specifically from Pro-Innovate.
And just to clarify for you listening, non-dilutive meaning they didn't have to give up any equity in the company to get that money.
Precisely. Free money, essentially. And they used that government grant to build and successfully operate a 20-kilowatt physical laboratory pilot.
Wow.
By doing this, they achieved what the industry calls TRL6, Technology Readiness Level 6.
Let's break that down, because TRL is a term that gets thrown around a lot in deep tech.
It really does.
Is TRL when it's just a basic principle on a whiteboard, right?
Right.
TRL3 might be a small proof of concept in a beaker. What does TRL6 actually prove to an investor?
TRL6 means the technology has been validated in a relevant environment.
Okay.
It means this isn't a tiny toy model sitting on a desk. It's a real physical machine built to scale, handling real fluid dynamics under real-world operational stresses.
So they proved the math actually translates to steel.
Exactly.
Right.
But they also knew a lab pilot wasn't enough to convince global investors that they could manufacture these things at commercial scale.
Right, because making one is very different from making 1,000.
Exactly. So they built a massive strategic bridge to Europe.
This is where their strategy gets incredibly smart. They formed a formal co-development and engineering alliance with 2 Tier 1 industry leaders in Germany.
Yep.
The Asperger Group and Kohler.
Right, because if you're sitting across from a European or U.S. investor, trying to convince them that your heavy machinery won't just break down in the middle of the desert,
Yeah.
putting world-renowned German engineering giants on your slide deck is kind of the ultimate trump card.
They essentially outsourced the scariest part of being a hardware startup.
The manufacturing risk.
Yeah, it's like designing a revolutionary new hypercar, but getting Porsche to actually build the engine for you.
That is exactly how they frame it. They are telling the investor, look, we own the intellectual property. We own the AI optimization layer.
The brains.
Right. But the physical steel, the welding, the turbine manufacturing, that is being handled by companies in Germany who have been perfecting industrial machinery for over a century.
That's brilliant.
And they also actively leverage their membership in AHK Peru, which is the Peruvian German Chamber of Commerce, to show institutional alignment with really rigorous German industrial standards.
So they've engineered a brilliant piece of hardware, and they've mitigated the manufacturing risks.
Check, check.
But that brings us to the next massive hurdle. Because brilliant engineering doesn't automatically equal a scalable business.
No, it definitely doesn't.
Traditional VCs don't want to fund cool science experiments, right?
Yeah.
They want massive exponential financial return.
The hockey stick curve.
Yeah. So how do you get software-like venture scale returns from selling heavy steel modules?
This is where we transition in their pitch from solving a technical problem to demonstrating a highly lucrative, scalable commercial machine.
Okay.
Because they completely abandoned the traditional hardware business model.
Really?
Yeah, and they adopted something that modern VCs absolutely love, energy as a service, or ES.
Easiest. Let's unpack the mechanics of that. Because under a traditional model, they would, I don't know, go to a massive mining company or a data center and say, hey, please buy this multi-million-dollar portable river module.
Right, which is a massive upfront capital expense for the client. The client has to go ask their board for millions of dollars just to buy the equipment.
Right.
And then they have to figure out how to maintain it.
But with the ES model, they flip that completely.
They install the hardware at the client site for free.
For free. Wow.
Zero upfront capex for the client. The client doesn't buy the machine, they just buy the output of the machine.
So how does Energetik Heart actually make their money back then?
They sign 10 to 15-year power purchase agreements, or PPAs.
Oh.
So they charge the client a fixed, predictable fee for every kilowatt hour of energy they consume over the next decade.
Oh, that's smart. It turns heavy infrastructure into a subscription service.
Exactly. It operates just like software as a service, but for physical electricity.
Which VCs love.
They love it. This creates a highly predictable, recurring revenue stream that investors can really easily model out. The internal projections in their pitch show a staggering customer lifetime value, or LTV, of between $3.5 million to $5 million per individual client.
Wow. And what makes it so compelling is that they aren't just projecting this into the void, right?
Yeah.
They actually have the traction to back it up.
They do.
Because the pitch materials highlight a commercial pipeline of over $500 million, specifically a $796 million pipeline.
Yeah, and this isn't just like a wish list of companies they hope to call one day.
Right, it's true.
This pipeline has been formally audited and validated by Peru.
Which is the Peruvian government's export promotion agency.
Right. Furthermore, they already have 5 corporate non-disclosure agreements and letters of intent signed.
Which essentially proves that the market is starving for this specific solution.
Exactly.
But, as we look through these VC negotiation notes, there is another major component they lean on to sell this vision.
Yeah.
Beyond the tech and the pipeline,
Right.
they're actually pitching the team itself as a competitive moat.
Well, investors always say they invest in people first, right?
Yeah.
And the Stilar Energy team has a very specific profile. Let's look at the CEO, Eduardo Tiravanti.
Okay.
The notes highlight that he brings over 20 years of highly profitable B2B heavy industry experience. He's frequently described in the internal communications as having, quote, stoic resilience.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
20 years working in heavy legacy industry. That doesn't exactly sound like your typical fast-moving, agile Silicon Valley tech founder,
The guy in the hoodie.
Right, the guy who moves fast and breaks things. Can a legacy industry veteran really pivot to a fast-scaling, venture-backed tech model?
It's a very natural skepticism for a tech investor to have, but Eduardo counters that beautifully in the pitch.
How?
He shows that his decades of profitable B2B relationships are the exact reason they already have a $796 million pipeline.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. Selling massive infrastructure to a global mining conglomerate is not like selling a software app to a teenager.
No, definitely not.
Corporate procurement is agonizingly slow. It's bureaucratic. It requires navigating layers of risk committees.
Endless meetings.
Exactly. Eduardo speaks the language of corporate buyers. He knows how to navigate those complex multi-year sales cycles, which is a really rare skill set for a typical tech founder.
And crucially, he isn't doing it alone.
No.
The pitch heavily emphasizes the leadership of the co-founders, Jacqueline Stroke and Purina, who lead the strategy, project management, and governance of the company.
Right, which gives Stilar Energy a 66% female leadership team.
Which is incredibly rare.
Oh, it is practically unheard of in deep tech, heavy machinery, and the energy sectors. Those are notoriously male-dominated.
Yeah.
And they don't just mention this in passing either. They treat it as a massive competitive advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they use this demographic reality specifically to attract modern European and U.S. climate and impact funds.
Because many of those modern funds now have strict mandates, right?
Yes.
They actively prioritize diversity in their investment thesis. So Stilar Energy is checking an institutional box that many of their competitors simply cannot check.
Exactly. It's a profound strategic differentiator. It shows they're a modern, forward-thinking company operating in a traditionally archaic industry.
Okay, so we have the technical solution, right?
Yeah.
The de-risking through the German manufacturing alliances,
Yeah.
the highly scalable EAT-S business model,
Yeah.
and this diverse, really experienced team.
Right.
Now, let's look at the actual execution, because the sources give us a rare, behind-the-scenes look at the historical and current state of their live VC negotiations.
It's so interesting to see it play out because their immediate objective is clear. They are raising a $1.5 million seed round to scale operations.
Right.
But they are entering these negotiations from a position of profound strength.
Yeah, because the risk for a new investor is already heavily mitigated.
Very heavily.
Their lead investor, an institutional fund called Carbon03, has already historically committed $500,000 to the round.
Having a third of your round already locked in by a respected institutional fund is massive.
Yeah, changes the whole dynamic.
It creates this psychological safety net for any new investor looking to join the syndicate. It basically says, hey, the due diligence has been done, the valuation is set, the train is leaving the station.
Are you getting on or not?
Exactly.
But what is truly fascinating to me is how Eduardo adapts the narrative of the pitch depending on exactly who is sitting across the table.
Oh, this is the best part.
They don't just use one generic slide deck for everyone.
No, it is a highly calibrated, highly targeted strategy. Let's look at how they pitch U.S.-based commercial and digital-focused VCs, such as Allegory Capital.
The internal notes are incredibly explicit about this tactic. They literally write, if we present the project talking only about hydraulic turbines and plant factors, there is a high risk they will discard it immediately as too CapEx intensive.
Right.
So what do? They strip out the heavy engineering talk entirely.
Entirely. For a fund like Allegory Capital, the entire pitch is framed as software plus hardware as a service.
Software first.
Always. They take that AI intelligence layer, the system that optimizes the fluid dynamics, and they put it front and center. They frame the hardware simply as the physical vessel for their proprietary software. And crucially, they position the entire company as the ultimate pick and shovel play for the hyper-growth market of AI data centers.
So they're pitching the AI boom, not the water turbine.
Exactly. They dress the heavy steel up in software clothing.
Oh, that is so clever.
But then when they pivot and pitch European climate and deep tech VCs...
Right, like funds like Extantia, Aston, or Food Labs.
Yes, the entire script flips.
Completely. Because those European funds have a completely different mandate.
Very different.
They care about deep decarbonization, physical environmental impact, hardware durability. For them, the focus shifts entirely to what is called the water energy nexus.
Right.
They highlight the 100% water circularity. They talk about reaching the gigaton threshold of carbon reduction.
And this is where they lean heavily into those German manufacturing alliances with Osberger and Kohler.
Oh, of course.
Because European funds deeply understand and respect German engineering standards,
Yeah,
right?
a huge trust signal.
Exactly. So that becomes the focal point of the trust-building exercise. It is essentially a chameleon strategy.
But I have to ask, by constantly shifting the spotlight, like from AI software optimization for one fund to climate impact for another to German manufacturing for a third, don't they risk looking deceptive? Like, don't they risk looking like they're just telling investors whatever they want to hear just to get a check?
It's a very fair critique, and it's a trap a lot of startups actually fall into. But if you look closely at their materials, they aren't changing the underlying facts.
Okay.
They aren't inventing new technology for different meetings. The technology is exactly the same. The business model is exactly the same.
So it's just framing.
Exactly. What they're doing is rotating a multifaceted diamond so that the specific investor sees the reflection they care about most.
Ah, I like that analogy.
Right. An AI software fund needs to see the software upside and the data center market. A climate fund needs to see the carbon metrics and the water conservation.
Right.
They are simply translating their value into the specific language of the buyer.
And the strategy is clearly working. The sources show incredibly active, high-level engagements across the board.
Very active.
Like, they secured a confirmed meeting with Few Labs in Berlin. They're advancing communications with Overture Ventures, where they're actually getting direct personal email requests for their pitch deck from senior directors.
It's just huge.
Yeah, they're in active engagement with Asterion. And they've even put in a formal application to India's Agrisure Fund to explore agricultural applications.
And just as importantly as who they're talking to is who they are choosing to ignore.
Right.
They are deliberately skipping funds that are fundamentally misaligned. Like when they looked at Alston Capital, a fund that strictly invests in B2B software, the internal advice was literally, don't waste valuable time forcing the fit.
Wow.
They are hunting with a sniper rifle, not a shotgun. They know exactly who their target audience is for each facet of their technology.
So what does this all mean for you listening? We have just deconstructed how Stilar Energy took an incredibly difficult proposition and structured this formal, ironclad presentation to attract traditional venture capital to a very non-traditional sector.
Yeah, they took a complex, heavy hardware problem, which is traditionally a total VC no-go zone, and systematically dismantled every single objection.
One by one.
They de-risked the tech with a 20-kilowatt pilot. They de-risked the manufacturing with the German alliances.
Yeah.
And they packaged it into a highly scalable software-like energy-as-a-service model with a pipeline of over $500 million.
And they leaned into their diverse team's operational history to prove they could actually execute on these massive corporate contracts.
Right.
So whether you are prepping for a major presentation or trying to secure funding for your own startup or, simply seeking buy-in for a new project at work, this deep dive proves a vital point. Success isn't just about having the best idea or the smartest engineering.
No, success is about mitigating the buyer's specific risks before they even have a chance to ask the question.
Yeah.
It is about framing your traction and your vision in a language they already speak.
Going back to where we started. When the standard startup recipe is broken, when the path forward is murky, you don't just shout your facts louder. You build a new framework that makes the unfamiliar feel safe, logical, and incredibly lucrative.
And if we connect this specific pitch to the much bigger picture, it leaves us with an important, almost provocative question to consider.
What's that?
Well, we're watching the explosive, seemingly unstoppable growth of artificial intelligence, and we see data centers continuing to drain global power grids and local water supplies at unprecedented rates to train these models.
Yeah, it's entirely unsustainable on our current trajectory.
Completely. So if that trend continues, will decentralized physical infrastructure technologies that can actually generate continuous power and conserve water, like these portable rivers, eventually become more valuable than the AI software itself.
Oh, wow. Who really holds the leverage in the future of tech? The companies processing the data.
Or the companies providing the physical energy and the water required to keep the servers alive.
That is definitely something to mull over. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.